Navigating that end in the dark. Oh my gosh. Say cheese. Wow. I'm so wrecked.
How many hours is this? So you did this in 22 hours. Less than 22.
Hey, I'm Britt. I'm here to recap some of my experiences from the Rockstar 250 gravel route. It's been a couple weeks. I've had a lot of time for some self-reflection and just being able to soak in the experience of it. And I had such a great time out there. I went and did the Grand Depart on 420. We rolled out at 7 a.m. And just a beautiful day. Clear, mild, crosswinds. And then I got even a little bit of tailwind once I got heading towards Roanoke overnight, so that was just blew me on home a little bit. But Cynthia Carson had a blazing FKT from last year. She broke the 24-hour barrier, so that was my carrot for the whole route throughout the day, and I had that goal, and it kept me on task. Some things that worked really well for me. I think that I was set up well with just my adventure racing background. I knew what I wanted to carry, what gear I needed that was going to get me through and keep me safe throughout, and making sure I had enough battery and spares of anything that I could potentially come across. Some of the highlights for me, coming down Reddish, you're just ready to cruise down the Death March. This is great gravel descent. They were freshly grading that, and it was in various levels of grading. It was so bumpy and just like a wild ride to get down. And then once you got out, it smoothed out and you headed out towards Braley's. You just keep going down. You go down a long time after that because you climb Reddish for a couple of hours. The day throughout, I was leapfrogging Stuart Gross a bit, and it was funny to see him. Like, he'd be faster than me, and then I'd catch him at the church. We'd be refilling bottles, and I'd just skedaddle right away, and he'd still be there. But I saw him for the last time heading out of Covington. He was in front of me, and that was it. But I knew he was out there a little bit, so I knew there was somebody that I might see again. definitely the highlight for me was dropping into Covington. You traverse along Douthit State Park for a long time, and it's kind of intermediate climbs, and then you get this great descent coming into Covington, and kind of all through Covington you're going downhill. And I stopped at Whitey's One Stop, got a couple of hot dogs, a whole bunch of junk food, a Red Bull, did my big swap of gear, etc. there, and got my lights ready, and then I was just settled in to get through the overnight. And you climb out of Covington and you head towards Rich Patch, and it's paved climb, and I crest there, and it's golden hour. You go downhill for 7 or so miles, and then you get into this valley, and you've got gorgeous views of the mountains on the side. You're getting the color change of sunset. The moon was rising, it's almost full. Peepers are coming out. It was like a cacophony of frog noises. Just like huge grin on my face, just rolling, having a good time. And that set me up for a really good overnight because I was in a good headspace. I felt good. Of course the wheels were going to eventually fall off, but they weren't going to yet. And then the sun went down, and I was on these skinnier gravel roads, and I can't tell you if I've ever positively seen a whippoorwill in my life, but I saw dozens. They would sit on the side of the road, and they look dirty. I thought they were small birds because I never see them. You hear them all the time, but you don't see them. They would sit on the side of the road/trail, and if you got too close, then they'd fly away. But they would look backwards when they'd fly, and I could see their eyes glowing. They have a very specific orange glow in their eyes. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I saw a couple whippoorwills, and then I saw them for hours. And it was just like, they were just like following around, but it was all different whippoorwills, and I saw them for miles. So that whole, I don't know, it was like 6 or 8 hours. I was seeing these random whippoorwills, but that was really fun. And then the work sort of started to set in. You get after midnight, and after 200 miles, one of my knees was really aggravated. It's from my SI joint. But it was making the mountains hard to climb. So Brushy was really a slog. And then Roanoke proper was such a challenge because my eyes had gotten really hazy from, I would assume, the gravel dust just all day. And all the lights were just making these halos, so I couldn't see very well. And you're trying to navigate tons of turns within the town. And I definitely had some backtracks. Then climbing Mill Mountain was painful. It's not that big of a climb in the scheme of things. You've climbed so many mountains in that like 24-hour span, but that one I had to walk a couple times. Just like, I need to get off. I need to not be on my bike seat for a minute. And then got up to the Star, took a quick bad selfie, and then tried to figure out how to get back to the Texas Tavern. Rolled in 2 minutes before 5 a.m. So I dropped the FKT by 2 hours. Stuart was the only person who beat me, so I got second overall too on the year. But Ari and Jen were there to greet me, which was really cool. It's good to have a loving pickup there to save you afterwards. And then soon after that was a strawberry milkshake and a very good nap. But it was such an incredible experience just being out in nature by myself for so many hours, and such a beautiful day, very remote. Yeah, now I just want to, I'm thinking about what I want to do next. Like, can I get into another one of those experiences? I think something that I took away from it, just as far as ultras are concerned for me, are you really want to plan your stops, because that's the time you just give away. And I would bargain with myself, like, you can't stop unless you have at least 3 things you need to do, whether it's get something out, lube something, etc. You need at least 3 things unless it's an emergency. I did stop once to wring out my socks because in the Patterson 666 area there are so many water crossings, and at night you can't really tell how deep they are, but you gotta cross them. So one of them I had to submerge my feet to get across, and I was like, if it's gonna be cold tonight, I don't think I can handle super wet feet. So that was a tough section, but then I regrouped and kept it going. I do want to take a moment to acknowledge that while my experience at the Rockstar was incredibly positive on the whole, that wasn't everyone's experience. One of my fellow Black News ambassadors, Major, experienced an incredible amount of racism in his 2-day journey across the Rockstar course, and it's really disheartening. I mean, we know that that racism is alive and well across this country and in the world, but I want to believe in a loving place, and I think that it starts with us. We need to take care of each other and lift each other up and support each other in whatever ways we can. So I'm sorry, Major, and I hope that this changes in the future and no one else has to experience that or feel unsafe in places like this in cycling. So I appreciate your time, guys, and thanks for listening.